But if you look at some of the things that were kind of bothering me, or I was struggling at the time, was feeling that no one is really understanding what kind of my ideas are, or kind of the things I want in life. And I think this had to do a lot with my workplace, kind of feeling stuck at work and not being able to express a lot of my ideas, express some of the ideas and emotions, and some of maybe like the difficulties or hardships that I felt were going on in my life, not being able to fully get that message across to those closest to me. So a feeling of isolation amongst, even though having peers around, feeling isolated in my message and how I'm viewing the world, as well as constant rumination in my mind. And it says always preparing for future conversations or replaying memories of the past. And I think this kind of goes towards people say, oh, if you're constantly thinking about the future, that you're filled with anxiety. If you're constantly thinking about the past, you're depressed. You need to be in the eternal now. But I genuinely think this is kind of the rumination in preparation for future conversations was a way for me to prepare myself against people that may have this information on me, that I have these mental health situations, or that I have gone to a psych ward or dealt with different mental health situations. To me, that was like my Achilles heel, that someone could attack me at that. And in any conversation, I was left vulnerable to that situation or that knowledge that they may have. So I was always prepping for the future. I was always prepping for future conversations and how that could play out and how to defend against some of that stuff. And I think with a little bit of time and age, I've come to the conclusion that instead of viewing that as the Achilles heel, viewing that as the weakness, I will turn that into the offense. I will be the one to divulge that information. I will be the one to share that to the world openly and honestly, in all of its glory and all of its downfall and all of its whatever, how pretty it is, how ugly it is. I will be the one to disclose that information about the mental health system, about my own personal mental health situations and stories, instead of fearing other people having that knowledge or that capability to have that information over me. I'll be the one to tell those stories, to tell that information, and ultimately I'll be the one that gets to depict the narrative. I'll be the one that gets to shape what the narratives are about my own mental health, about what goes on in psychiatry, what goes on in mental health, because now I am the one wielding the microphone. I am the one wielding the pen. And he who wields the pen, he who wields the microphone, wields the masses, is how it goes. So those were some of the things I was going through or dealing with at the time. The rumination, constantly preparing for conversations. But I like how I ended this. I like how I ended both of these paragraphs. I respect truth and loyalty above all else, and I think those are two morals and principles that I will stand on until the day I die. Truth and loyalty above all else. And to the extent of which I value those, I will die for truth. I will die for loyalty. And if people show that same amount of loyalty to me, I can only reciprocate it, and I will only reciprocate it. I will always reciprocate that loyalty back to those who show the same level of loyalty to me. And in terms of truth, I think there's certain types of people in this world who have this passion and this lust for the truth of what things are, maybe because they've been mistreated, maybe because they've gone through situations and found out things that maybe the world isn't really how we think it is, or the world doesn't seem or doesn't present in its entirety of how maybe we once thought it did. It gives us this desire to chase the truth, to stop at nothing, to find out what the truth is. So me, I respect truth and loyalty above all else. And then I like how I ended this second one, and it says, I have things to work through. I possess the abilities to achieve any goal or dream I have, and the resolve to conquer any mountain in my way. So, no matter the size of the mountain, no matter the size of the man that stands in the way, I will overcome. I will achieve, and I will go through the mountain. I will climb the mountain, and even if it takes years, decades, different lifetimes, I will come back and I will climb that mountain. So I like that even though this description of who I am at that time, it was filled with some turmoil, but I try to always end off anything I write with a positive mindset. Or if I'm writing about times that are filled with turbulence and turmoil or hardship, there's always a positive mindset or a positive shift that you can spin out of anything. There's always something in you that you could say, despite these hardships, despite these problems of ruminating thoughts or these feelings of isolation or these feelings of being misunderstood, I will still conquer and achieve and overcome any hurdle and climb any mountain that stands in my way despite anything that happens. So this is the kind of mindset and thinking that people need to approach mental health with, and they need to approach their own problems with. It's think about the hardships, reflect upon whatever negativity in your life, but don't dwell in the negativity, don't dwell in the negative emotions. Look at them for what they are, look at the situation for what it is, and then inject positivity into it, inject positive thinking into the negative situation, and overcome and build yourself up in every situation. It's always about building yourself up. If you're going to dive into the past, if you're going to dive into prior memories in your mind, always come with the weapons of positivity. Always come with injecting positivity into negative memories or negative moments or traumatic moments of the past. You must always wield positivity as your sword. Your sword is the positivity.